I wanted to make a video to address some commonly asked questions I get about Jack. I hope this video answers any and all queries and concerns regarding Jack's life and how I, as a caretaker, try my best to support her. How did Jack end up in my care? What a lot of people on the internet want to hear when they see a naked parrot is that I, an overprivileged, grabby and entitled woman living in a material world, stole Jack from her wild home and cruelly imprisoned her and sentenced her to a life behind cage bars for my own twisted pleasure, until death do us part. So here's that story. One morning I thought, as a woman living in the Western world, I deserve to keep a rare animal locked up in a cage so I can poke it with a stick, laugh at it and show it off to all my friends, all two of them. And I tried to find a rare animal in England, but they were all so dreadfully boring. And that's why I decided to extend my search to somewhere a bit more exciting. I packed my suitcase with chamomile tea because travelling makes me nervous, and I ventured into the lowland rainforests of West Africa, armed with nothing but a cat carrier and a pistachio nut. I said, "Is there a beautiful rare animal in this rainforest that I can lock up and neglect forever and ever? Because if there is, I'm going to get ya." And that's when the unmistakable sound of twigs snapping echoed from between the gaps in the trees, and the hair on my arms took the role of Marge Simpson very seriously. I shouted, "Who is there? Show yourself!" And more strange noises emerged from the foreign landscape. But the tallest trees shielded my view, and a taunting fart noise blasted towards me. The thunderous sound shook the ground beneath my feet. It was like I was spinning around in a teacup on one of those waltzer rides where you're flying towards a man in a tracksuit and he's having a boogie to electronic dance music with a cigarette stuck to the bottom of his lip. And as you're being violently flung around, you're getting closer and closer to his thrusting pelvis when he lunges at your teacup and viciously spins you with an exhausted look in his eyes, and you realise that you've judged this man who spins people all day long who are screaming, and his lack of smile doesn't mean that he hates you, he just finds you quite irritating. Except this wasn't a fun fair. It was the lowland rainforest of West Africa, like I said. Have you not been listening? So I'm standing there like a deer in the headlights, except there aren't any cars because I'm in the rainforest of West Africa, and I can't even find my way around a big Tesco, so I'm basically screwed. And I'm looking around for my rare pet, and I'm also a bit worried because the atmosphere is just like horrible. It's threatening but weirdly comforting. Anyway, does that make sense? Like something is here and it might hurt me, but that's okay. I'll accept whatever fate this thing gives me. So I figure I'll probably need a chamomile tea to settle my nerves, and so I take my flask out of my massive back pocket because I'm wearing men's jeans, so my massive pockets can fit a flask in it. I undo the top and pour myself a warm cup of chamomile tea. I fall into the ground and close my eyes as I sip. The sun fights through the trees and leaves a warm glow on the inside of my eyelids, and then everything turned black. The warm glow on the inside of my eyelids had been eaten by shadows. I was scared to open my eyes, and there was the strangest noise, sort of like an anteater shoving its long old nose in a puddle and sucking up every last drop. I slowly opened my eyelids, and to my horror, a naked mole rat had stuck its face in my tea. I said, "Excuse you, you've actually acted illegal because it's not legal for naked mole rats to drink my herbal tea." And then in a demonic sort of voice I heard, "Naked mole rat, go pluck yourself." And I said, "Well, you're naked and you look like a rat, so I would assume that you're..." But before I could even finish my sentence, the cold wing of rainforest law spread out and slapped me across the cheek. I was stunned, mainly because of the slap, but also because the creature that had stolen my tea was a parrot. And then I was folded like a hotel towel and pushed into the cat carrier. It said, "You make tea for me now." And with that, the parrot threw me over its shoulder, hopped on a plane, and that was that. Although I did make most of that up. Contrary to popular belief, I didn't go and snatch Jack from the wild habitat she's native to, and nor did I have any plan to trap a rare animal and keep her for my own gain and fun. I didn't ever set out to have birds, it just happened. So how did I really become Jack's caretaker? Well, my mum and dad took her in. They don't remember much about it, but Jack wasn't the first bird to cross the threshold, and she wasn't the last. All I can say about it is that my mum and dad received a call one night from a friend. The friend said they had a friend who knew someone who had ended up with an African grey, and due to a death, the friend wasn't managing to take care of this grey. And the grey wasn't able to come out of the cage, and the bird was plucked. A few days later, a cage with a naked parrot was wheeled in, and I stuck my fingers in the cage and he bit me. And rightly so, I had invaded Jack's personal space. But what happened next was we bonded. Over the next couple of years, we became close, and if I left the house and came back, Jack would rush to see me, and that was that. Jack was mine and I was Jack's. When I moved out, I visited my parents daily because they need daily support, and that means I saw Jack on a daily basis until COVID. When COVID happened, I was no longer able to go into my parents' house every day. I was heartbroken at the thought of leaving her because whilst my parents are very well-intentioned animal lovers, they weren't quite equipped to deal with the ever-changing goalpost of parrot care. So I asked my landlord if I could move Jack in with me, and one day later, she moved in with me. And I don't know how long Jack has been with us, but from the beginning, no avian vet was able to offer any kind of advice for how old Jack was. And Jack, of course, was a he when he was passed over to us until she laid an egg. Why is Jack plucked? Jack was wheeled into my family home, stone cold, naked and angry, and she'll leave this world stone cold, naked and angry. Veterinary support was explored to see if the plucking was for a fixable reason, and sadly, despite Jack's life only being improved in terms of care received, including diet, it's not something that we ever found a cause for, and if there isn't a cause, it's quite hard to find a fix. It can be quite easy to look at a plucked parrot and think, what a traumatized, sad little bird. I hate that for this parrot. And you should be angry, but not at the people you're angry at. It's really an issue far bigger than individual caretakers. Captive parrots can pluck. Some of the most well-looked after parrots in the world pluck, not because they are stressed or sad, but because they're not actually meant to be in captivity. No amount of artificial surroundings and human love can replace the natural habitat and flock politics that these birds have in the wild. If someone says they provide this, it's probably a lie. It will never ever be the same as the real thing, because we're really not meant to keep parrots with us in our homes. And I address this time and time again, so I will keep it short. Just because someone's a little plucked up on the outside, it doesn't mean that they're all plucked up on the inside. Plucked birds happen, and the quicker we open our hearts to them, the less plucked parrots will waste away in overcrowded rescues. It's okay if you can't fix it. It's a bit human, to be honest, trying to fix it. To take something that doesn't belong to you, break it, and then shout that it can't be fixed. But true flock members accept what's on the outside, so be more like a parrot, okay? The funny thing is, mine and Jack's life together got significantly less stressful when I was done exploring all of the, potential fixes for her plucking. Will they ever grow back, and can't you try X, Y, Z as it worked for a parrot I knew of once? If you don't accept Jack as she currently is, our channel probably isn't for you. Of course, I will always hope that Jack grows her feathers in and has the bushiest plumage in all of Great Britain. But over time, my hopes have shrunk, which is great for Jack because she no longer has to act like a lab rat for the millions of plucking cures that never quite worked for us. Suggestions are well-meaning, and if I tried to list everything we have tried, Jack would probably grow her feathers back because we'd be here for so long. But just to reassure you that although accepted with kindness, we are not looking to try any more miracle cures. Truly, we just want to enjoy our time together now. Jack has tried diet change, UV light, daily baths, vet-recommended sleep patterns, sprays, lotions and potions, collars, sweaters and neckerchiefs, tablets in her water, vitamins, minerals, calcium and so on. We've moved on from something that used to cause us great anxiety, and how lovely it would be if you could move on with us. I am not in a position to find a mate for Jack, so that suggestion is always a bit difficult to hear. She's a bit violent, and Yoshi talking to her is probably enough right now. I am not sure that bringing another bird into a situation like mine is fair on another bird, even if it sounds like it might be good for Jack. Why does Jack hate men? Well, Jack's not very tolerant of many people, but she doesn't hunt women like she hunts men. It's actually quite common for birds to have a preference when it comes to men and women. It doesn't necessarily act as evidence of abuse. Jack gets a lot of joy from chasing men around and biting them on the ankles whilst making fart noises. And just because she runs after them, it is no indication of her being clipped. Jack has never ever been clipped in my care. She can fly. She does fly. And most of you will have seen her fly at some point. However, she is a very intelligent animal, and she is aware that flying is louder than sneaking across the back of the sofa, and Jack likes the element of surprise. There's no point scaring off her prey before she takes the first bite. I encourage flying with Jack, and she'll do it when she wants to do it on her own terms. But she prefers not to do it very much. She likes to potter around on the floors, and that's absolutely fine. Recently, Jack has been diagnosed with arthritis in her legs, and so it's also worth bearing in mind that she is probably a little bit older and flying might be quite tiring for her. But she actually isn't. She's a baby and she's going to live forever, so let's also remember that. If I love Jack, why don't I set her free? Some people genuinely do mean open your back door and chuck her out so she can be wild in an urban town in England where cigarette smoke and car fumes turn rain clouds into acid rain. And some others mean surrender Jack to a rescue. The honest answer is I am a selfish person and I love Jack. But I also know that Jack loves me and I am Jack's family. I'm all she knows, and taking myself away from Jack would cause her emotional harm. Rightly or wrongly, I will spend most of my life with Jack trying to improve her life. But no, I do not believe that surrendering her into a strange unknown situation is fair, kind, or in her best interests. Do you know how long it takes to earn a bird's trust? We are a flock. If the flock separates, Jack loses her flock. So for both selfish reasons and for reasons relating to Jack's mental health, I will never surrender her. But yes, I have spent time wondering if this could be in her best interests. I know the correct temperature of Jack's tea just by pressing the liquid against my lips. She'll walk away in a mood if it's too cold, and if it's too hot, it will cause her harm. I know Jack has to have a tiny bit of egg in every single chop she eats or she won't eat her vegetables. I know Jack gets very energetic listening to rap music, and she doesn't like to cuddle in the daytime, but when the lights go dim, she really enjoys her pin feathers being scratched. I know that Jack won't eat pellets, and so they have to be blended into a fine powder and added to her vegetables. And I know that she is wary of new people, but especially men. I know that her beak can bite to the bone of my finger, and I have felt it. And I know that Jack loves overacted cartoon films, and she loves watching the world go by from the window. I know all of these things because I invest my time into learning about Jack and learning what I can do to improve her life. So I truly believe that I don't think she's in the right place, but I think that she's in the okayest place for the time being. Why, if Jack's female, does she have the name Jack? Jack came as a he and came with the name Jack, and then laid an egg. The egg wasn't fertile as there had been no mate involved, but it was a strong indication that our darling boy Jack was actually a Jacqueline. I don't think it's in Jack's interests for me to change her name at any stage of her life, where she has memory of it. So that is why Jack has a male name, and it's actually a really common theme in parrots living in captivity. What's her diet like? Jack is on a chop and pellet diet with seeds. She forages her seeds, but the decision to not remove them completely from her diet and to slowly improve her diet has been taken on the advice of avian specialists. Jack wouldn't always eat chop, but nowadays she's a lot better. I mix it with a small bit of egg, which seems to encourage her to get messy, and I include whatever fruits, vegetables and other ingredients I can to make it healthy yet hearty and give Jack the best chance of becoming immortal and being the best ladybird she can be. Jack also has daily calcium due to deficiencies that can develop over the years. With calcium, she also has AviPro, and she takes both in her tea, so I always know that she's had a good amount of her vitamins. Drink works far better than food in terms of sprinkling vitamins on them, and parrots are all about making it work because every bird is so wildly different that whatever you're caring for, there's no instruction book. You have to find workarounds and do what you can to make the situation work for you and your bird. Do Jack and Yoshi ever interact? Yes, they do. They talk to each other. Well, Yoshi doesn't actually talk, so Jack just talks to him using a couple of the noises that he makes. It's a back and forth, and they'll chatter like this on and off all day. However, they're not really allowed to be within a close range of each other, unless they're being watched very closely. They are both capable of damage, but Jack could really hurt Yoshi, and he's not very good at boundaries or understanding danger. The rule that I live by is if I'm home, they're home, which means that cage doors are open. So both birds come in and out of their cages as they please, but it also means that they have to be watched 24/7 because we live in a small cottage and we all know that bird politics is the worst kind of politics. So they're under constant surveillance and life can be really stressful watching them. Doesn't she just poo everywhere? Yes, she's a parrot. No, I haven't toilet trained her. It is what it is. She does, however, have her favourite spots to poo on, which means I can prepare before she starts her day by putting newspaper down. There are days where you're having a bad day already and you think, God, it can't get much worse. And then you step in a massive morning parrot shit, and it's just a little reminder from the bottom of Jack's heart that it can always get shitter. And I do appreciate her for always putting things into perspective for me. A kind handful of people regularly comment on my parrot care, and I always get a knot in my stomach if someone calls me perfect. I am not, I am far from it. I've cried looking after these birds. The emergency vet visits, the stress, and sometimes when they're so loud and I've got a migraine, I yell at them and I ask them to stop. And there are bad days. There are lazy days where I can't find the energy to do anything with them, and I feel like the worst person in the world. And I try, I really try, and I'm proud of that, because no matter what kind of a day we have, I know that tomorrow I just want to do a little bit better than the day before. And I think that it's not perfect, but it's probably the best that we can do. I'll wrap this up now, and there's no doubt that I've missed a few of the other frequently asked questions off the list, so feel free to comment if you have any, and I will make a part 2 if it's required. That being said, if you want to know how I feel about keeping birds as pets, then you can hang around and watch that one time that the birds randomly broke into a rat battle, and it pretty much covers everything that I think. Have you ever had all of your happiness depleted, so you try and fight back, but you're nearly defeated, and when the greedy start taking, well, they just want more? So the veins are bursting in my ladybird claw. I'm like Joseph when he pulled back the curtain. He closed his eyes because he was feeling uncertain. He took a closer look because he had to be sure that the screeching in his ears was Quaker Parrot caused, and it was Yoshi was there that day. He's the greed inside Joe's brothers, he's the famine and pain. He's the chains that enslaved him, the key that locked that chain. I looked him in the eyes and my feathers turned grey. Oh, Jack, why you always hating? Welcome to Jacksville, population agitated, tired of being at the butt of your jokes. You're not a funny bird and all you do is moan. Men with moustaches, Jack hates them. Thinly veiled threats, Jack makes them. You hate the sun and you hate the breeze, and you always bite on the hand that feeds us snacks. I'm tired of it, I can't lie. I wake up in the morning and you tell me to die. You're angry, Jack, and I don't know why. I'm your brother, Jack, stop making me cry. It's like your beak is the fire and my name is the fuel that trickles and douses as the hatred soars. You're the secret garden that no one explores, cause there's roaches in the grass and they bite at your claws. I'm sorry, mother plucker, are you talking to me? Kindly please stop, I don't converse with the fleas. If you've got something to say, then I suggest you don't, cause if you think you can change me, I promise you won't. Ah, sweet Yoshi captured the nation. He's the reason I believe in sterilization. I bite the hand that feeds me pistachios. At least I don't eat crumbs from Grandad's mustache. Is it too much to ask that you leave me alone? I would rather have my flesh plucked straight from the bone than live in a house that you call a home, cause your face is something I can never condone. I'm taking a stand, doing what's right. Your soul is dark, Jack, there is no light. And when you twist the knife, Jack, you twist it with glee. There's terror in your eyes, there's blood on your beak. Oh, Yoshi, you have no clue. I think I do, Jack, there's fear in you. You're scared of showers, scared of men. Grandad's toes, he used to have 10 till you chomped 8, and I do it again. New flavor of tea, straight in the bin. Attacking me with false concern, how insincere. So he's dressing up your hatred to make it look like fear. It's not the shower hose I fear, it's cause when the water hits me, it feels like tears of the flock who left me alone down here. And the humans, well, they really grind my gears. So when the tears rain down, I start to flap, and the humans shout, Jack, don't do that. So I pull at my feathers and I bite back. Oh, Jack, that sounds, don't interrupt me, rat. It's not the man that scares me or the man alone. It's the patriarchy that he built on bones. And you think my insides are forged with steel? Go get your heart ripped out and then come tell me how it feels. How old are you, Yoshi? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the math is saying you're young and ugly. How old are you, Jack? I wish I knew. I've got arthritis in my legs that's older than you. Older and wiser and more time to adapt to the human condition of taking whatever they can, so I know what I'm saying and it's not out of fear. I condition myself cause the pain's too severe. When you change hands more than a clock changes time, you don't speak the language language, so you never know why. They didn't say a word, not a single one. And you woke up in the morning and your family was gone. Your home looked different and their faces had changed. They loved you for a week and then your voice enraged them, so they'd scream at you, tell you to shut the pluck up, covered your cage, and they kicked on the bars. Who do you talk to when they're all that you know? The curtain closes, it's the end of the show. They bought the ticket, but the fun didn't end, and it was cute for a while, but now they pretend. They're tired of this, and they want you to leave, so they kick you out, and you rinse and repeat. Cause that's what happens when birds get old. The house stays warm, but the cage gets cold. You live forever when they drop like flies. See, you found one you like, she'll probably die. This home is forever is what she'll say, until the humming of the hearse comes to rattle your cage. All you are is instant gratification, unboxing a bird with zero preparation. So I live in a town where it's only me, cause I had to learn how to not fall in love so plucking easily. Welcome to Jacksville, I'm the queen. Population 1, always ready to leave. Sure, I'm warm and I'm loved and I'm safe, but forgive me, Yoshi, cause I lost my faith. The night terrors, they still chase my dreams, so I fall to the floor and I start to scream. But Lady Mother doesn't hear, cause she's not mine. She's got a new bird now, it happens every time. And Yoshi, the new bird isn't you. You're old news now, she wouldn't piss on your shoe. She kisses and cuddles that new feathered thing, and you think to yourself, well, that plucking stings. And then you get mad and you take it out on things. And the new bird asks Yoshi why he hates everything. The palm of her hand where you sat has gone, and you'll always wonder what you did wrong. Welcome to Yoshiville, Population 1.